Hello, my name is Lepsevich, and soon I'll be a high school graduate. Sounds like a typical event, but for me, graduating with my class means I'm achieving what 2 years ago seemed impossible. I'm in my third year of recovery from a traumatic brain injury, in a process that has no predictable endpoint. I've missed half of high school, and I'm taking a gap year next year to speed up the recovery process because I do not want to miss 1 minute of college. I took a couple of risks in my recovery over this past year. In the fall, my uncle's wedding put me back in my basement, isolated in the dark for 3 weeks. But for my school semi-formal this past February, I only spent a week back in that basement. Yet, at my worst, I spent 7 to 8 months in the dark, alone, trying to heal my brain. Today I'm a survivor, and I know the risks I face when I spend time at loud, bright events like this one. But I come back quickly from setbacks as I heal. Oh, and time in the basement means darkness. No TV, no cell phones, no computer, no books, no learning, no social media, no friends. Total isolation. I'm here to share my story. Before a direct hit propelled me to the field, I was at my peak as an athlete. In my sophomore year of high school, second year on varsity soccer, and deep into my club lacrosse season. That picture was taken 2 years ago. Then I became this.
All right, get your focus. What do you want to do? You want to say right arm, left arm, or do you want to do cock, like?
Sure.
All right, ready? 3 times. Say it.
Oh, left arm, right leg.
Remember, don't cue yourself with your finger. Look at the spot and think about it.
Right arm, left leg. Left leg, right leg. Right arm, left leg.
Okay, now go slowly.
Right arm, left leg.
Okay, take a break.
At my worst, I had a headache that felt like a jackhammer against my skull for nearly a year. My right leg dragged its weight outward when I tried to walk. I couldn't hold a glass of water in my right hand. My neck, arms, shoulders, and legs shook uncontrollably with tremors. The ringing in my ears was similar to the noise a truck makes backing up, nonstop. I stuttered so badly that it took me minutes to complete a sentence. If I walked down the hall, the whole hall would spin to the right while the ceiling and floor kept moving. I was caught in a tornado. I had constant nausea. To drive in the car, I had to have towels on the windows to block out the stimulation. While my head pounded, the world spun, and I tried not to vomit. I had trouble falling asleep and could never stay asleep. Have you ever been in a place where every aspect of your life seems to be aligning, then suddenly and without warning, everything changes? For me, that was my injury. More specifically, my traumatic brain injury. So what does that entail? Clinically, it means I have suffered an external physical force to my head that disrupted the functioning of my brain. Specifically, it means that on a crisp sunny day in September 2014, I was struck by the soccer ball during a direct kick just 10 yards away, on the right side of my head, right between my eye and my ear. The force of the impact was so severe that my head jolted back, my neck twisted involuntarily to the left, until my body slammed headfirst onto the turf field. Metaphorically, it means that was the moment my life became segmented into before and after suffering a traumatic brain injury. Literally, it means I need to have these note cards to help guide me through this presentation. Like the 69% of student athletes who neglect to report possible concussion symptoms and the growing breadth of studies highlighting the risk posed to athletes who continue to play with head injuries, when I became severely injured, I did not want to accept what I knew was a significant injury. I was aware my brain and body were not functioning correctly long before the symptoms became visible to others, but I was scared. Scared I'd lose my position on the team, scared if I was honest, I would never play sports again, scared that I couldn't understand what was going on in school anymore, scared that I had no idea who the person everyone in my life was expecting me to be because I couldn't remember her, scared because life for everyone else appeared to be normal, but I had no idea what was normal anymore. To make matters worse, as a teenager, the fact that I seemed self-absorbed masked the memory loss and processing gaps. Unlike a broken bone, an injury to the brain is easier to cover up because the injury was unseen. That was until I began experiencing physical symptoms. Tremors and stuttered speech were the first visual signs of the slow physical deterioration. And looking back, the physical symptoms ended up saving me because that's when my parents knew this was more than just a concussion. Eventually, the fogginess got so bad that I was no longer aware of how different I felt. I was at the point that survival meant isolation, free from life outside my home, free from a sense of normalcy. This is because at first, the doctors didn't know how to diagnose my injury, and some believed I was exaggerating my symptoms. The thought was, it's just going to take time. It took 10 months before I was able to find the doctor who could identify the complexity of my injury and begin proper treatment. Because a brain injury is unseen, it is difficult for those who knew me before to piece together what has happened. In many ways, I saw the fear of reality in their eyes, that life is both precious and unpredictable, and that scared them. Today, I still have days my brain is foggy and in super slow motion. I know that is my brain telling me I've overused it and it needs a break. But frankly, I get frustrated because it seems to always happen at the worst time. Recovering from my injury required me to focus solely on the needs of my brain and body. And now that the physical aspects of recovery are resolving, I'm attempting to deal with the emotional and social aspects of recovery. For a long time, I struggled with understanding why did this happen to me? Wondering if everything happens for a reason, then what was the reason behind this? But I realized there was never going to be a reason that sufficed. Overcoming my circumstances required me to look outside of myself as well. I'm reminded that facing adversity is human. It is one way we are more in common than we are different. I am now able to process how my injury affected my family and friends, and comprehend that the change in my life caused a shift in theirs as well. I learned a number of lessons over the last 2 years. Being vulnerable enough to ask for help requires strength. The ability to forgive those who mistreated me requires understanding their ignorance. And the time required to heal is rooted in patience. My physical rehabilitation is almost complete, and I'm adapting to life as a brain injury survivor. This requires new terminology such as post-traumatic brain injury syndrome. But most importantly, the aftermath requires me to understand the seasons of change. Autumn is the season of that catastrophic fall and represents the time of year that ended my normal. It is the time immediately after the adversity when life appears to be falling down, like the leaves releasing from the oak trees in New England. It is the moment fear attempts to take control. The fear I experienced after the injury stemmed from the unknown. I didn't know what was happening to me, but I knew I was never going to be the athlete, student, friend, sister, or daughter that I used to be. And I could only hope that others would accept the post-injury version of me. Winter represents the period of inadequacy, the recognition of persuasive limitations, utter darkness, blind doctors. I struggled through months of unenlightened care that included doctors who could not pinpoint my diagnosis. When I wasn't struggling with blind doctors, I was sunk in my basement, a literal period of isolation, because recovery required protecting my brain from any type of stimulation. The isolation and lack of answers left me frustrated and confused. I had a choice: succumb to the challenges or overcome by embracing the challenges as an opportunity to grow. Spring represents a time of growth. After what feels like a step backward during winter, this period feels like 2 steps forward. It's the point hope enters and begins to balance out the challenges. This was the semester I re-entered school full-time as a junior. I was so excited, finally getting life back on track. However, it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. It was certainly slow-moving growth. Determined to progress, I did not let on how difficult this transition was for me. Seeing and hearing my friends live their lives made me frustrated and experience a new type of isolation. This is where I learned the tough lesson: overcoming adversity is a marathon, not a sprint. I realized you cannot rush the blooming process of growth. Summer represents light in a period of enlightenment. after the growing pains of spring. It was summer when I finally found a care team who could diagnose the complexities of my brain injury and who developed a personalized rehabilitation plan. This season was when I could see and feel the results of my hard work paying off, to speak without stuttering, walk unassisted, and to sleep through the night. The summer of 2016 brought the ability to enjoy pleasure reading, attend more social events with friends, and the realization, after everything I'd been through, that I was entering my senior year with my class. As I prepare for graduation and life after high school, I hope that this traumatic brain injury is the most significant hardship I face for a very long time. But I know I will continue to face challenges related to the injury as well as new challenges, taking adversity in stride like the seasons of change. No matter the adversity, the seasons of change cycle is a reminder of the ebbs and flow in life. Some days may bring all 4 seasons in a 24-hour period, while other times the seasons will last for years. No matter the issue or length of time the adversity is present, everyone encounters fall and winter. And yet, the opportunities of spring and summer always follow. Thank you.